Before you use the quiz module to make an assessment, there's a lot you'll need to think about ahead of time. When are your users going to take this quiz, and how long will they have to do so? What types of questions will be on the quiz? There are lots of questions that you can use within Katie, like multiple choice, short answer, true, false, essay. So what types of questions will you need to ask? Should the questions be randomly shuffled for each user? So for one user, they might have question 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. Someone else will have those questions in a different order. Would you like the quiz to have multiple pages, as in the questions show up on multiple pages? And if so, how many questions do you want per page? Also, what kind of feedback will the users receive? Well, you can program lots of different feedback types based for specific questions or for the quiz overall. And how do you want to do that? When will users be able to review their results? And what information will they be able to view? Do you want them to know which questions they got correct and didn't? And when will you want them to know that? Also, will you allow multiple attempts, or do you only want them to take this quiz once? So let's go ahead and create a quiz. If you haven't yet, go to the gear icon and turn editing on. Go to your topic, add an activity or resource, and pick quiz. And click the add button. I like to expand all once I get to the quiz because there's a lot going on here. So for my quiz, I'm calling this is a syllabus quiz that I have students take to see how they do on their, how well they know the syllabus to my class. So I'm going to tell them that they can use their syllabus. Under timing, you'll see you have lots of answers. Open the quiz. This is when the students will be able to start taking the quiz. So if I don't enable that, then that means by default it's open already. So I'm going to say I don't want this to be enabled until the 28th of March at 8 a.m. And I'm going to give them 1 day to do it. So if I don't enable this, then if I don't close the quiz, then they'll be able to take it at any point after the 28th of March. But I'm going to enable this and say they have until the 31st of March at 5 p.m. to take this quiz. You can also set a time limit. So I'm going to tell them that they have 10 minutes to take this quiz. In the layout section, if you click show more, you can see you have lots of options. For new page, never, all questions on one page. This means all of my questions are going to show up on a single page. You can have, students will have a different page for each question. You have all kinds of options for this. Navigation method, if you have multiple pages, you can say, you know what, I want them to move sequentially through the quiz. Or I want them to be able to jump around. If you say free, then they can jump around and answer whichever questions they like. For question behavior, shuffle within questions. This means that each time a student starts the quiz, that their multiple choice answers will be in a different order. How questions behave. You'll see that we have several options here. So like I said, for shuffle within questions, that allows you to determine if the order of the answers changes. How questions behave. If you want users to answer each question and then submit the entire quiz before they see their grades or get any feedback, then select deferred feedback. This is the default, and this is what most people use. If you'd prefer that users submit each question as they go along and then get immediate feedback, you can do that. It just takes a little bit more setup, and you can do that. That's called interactive with multiple tries. You'll see that you also have this option, each attempt builds on the last. So if as I'm planning to do, I'm allowing multiple attempts on my quizzes, I can select this option so that each time they start a new quiz, they'll be able to use the results of their previous quiz to answer questions during their new attempt. So I'm going to leave this as deferred feedback. Okay, now it is time for review options. So you'll see by default, during the attempt, this is when the student is taking the quiz. So they'll be able to see the quiz that they're taking. You'll see that that is checked and you can't uncheck it. Next, you'll see immediately after the attempt. So that means once the student has submitted the quiz, what do you want them to be able to see? Do you want them to be able to see what they answered? If so, check the attempt. If not, leave that unchecked. Do you want them to be able to see how many points they got immediately after submitting? You can select points. If you'd rather they not see that until everyone has submitted the quiz, you can leave that unchecked. And if you're giving feedback, you can decide if you want them to be able to see their overall feedback. Since I have enabled both opening and closing my quiz, you'll see that I'm able to click in these. If I didn't have open and close times enabled, I wouldn't be able to make selections here. So this is later while the quiz is still open. Do I want them to be able to see the attempt that they made? Do I want them to be able to see their specific points? And I've decided I actually don't want them to be able to see any of that until after the quiz is closed. So this is after the quiz is closed. That means no more students can take the quiz, and that's when I want them to be able to see the attempt that they made. I want them to be able to see whether the answers they gave were correct, how many points they got, and the feedback that I provided for them. Overall feedback, this is where you can set grade boundaries so that after they finish their quiz, if they got, say, a 75, maybe if they get between 75 and a 0, I might tell them, you know, please reread the syllabus before your next attempt. Once I've set all of the settings for my course, I will save and display, and now I can begin adding questions. So you'll see no questions have been added yet, so I've got this big red bar. I can come here, click Add Questions, and begin to add those questions. So to add questions, I'm going to go over here to Add. I will add a new question, and then you'll see this is the list of all of the different question types that we have available here in Katie. So for my first question, I'm actually going to do a short answer and add. Question name, this does not display. I'm going to just going to type something to let me know when I see it in a list what this question is about. So I'm going to say instructor name. And for the question text, what is the last name of the instructor for this course? I'm going to in bold write, this should only be one word. So not professor something or whatever. So this gets 1 point. If I want to provide general feedback here, I can do that, not required. This is where you decide, is case important? Do they need to have things capitalized properly? So for this, my last name is White. And if they put in the answer White, they will get 100% for their grade. If I wanted to add something else, like say they type in Holly, which is my first name, not my last name, then maybe I will give them 60%. But you don't need to do that. You can give multiple answers that might be able to get 100%. As you can see, I could say if they put in Holly, that was close enough, they'll get 100 points for that too. You can add as many blanks as you want if you think there are multiple options or things that they might be entering or multiple ways to spell things. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and save changes. I'll see, here is that short name that I put in, instructor name, and then the beginning of the question, and this white bar is indicating that it's a short answer. For my next question, I'm going to pick multiple choice. You'll see we have two types of multiple choice, just regular multiple choice and also calculated multi-choice. So these are where you can enter formulas and numbers, and each student who takes the quiz will get a different number. And the Katie system will do the calculations for them. But I've just got a regular multiple choice question, so I'm going to pick multiple choice and add. Type in my question name and how do you receive participation points for this class? And this is where you can say, okay, is there one or multiple answers that are allowed for this? Do I want to shuffle within those choices? Meaning that for some students, A, B, C, and D will be different. The answers will be the same, but they'll be in a different order. And how do I want those choices to appear? So for me, I'm just going to pick A, B, and C, etc. So for choice one, about how I receive participation points, the student says, I receive participation points by logging into the course every day, Monday through Friday for the rest of the semester. That's not the correct answer. I don't have to do anything to receive participation points. Oh, sorry, that's the feedback section. So you want to be careful about that. I do that a lot. So for the second choice, go down to choice 2. I don't have to do anything to receive participation points. That's also not correct. So that will stay at none. I'm going to leave feedback blank. For choice 3, I receive participation points by completing the activities in the course. That's also not correct because it's actually for this class in choice 4. I receive participation points by posting to assigned blogs and discussion forums. And if they choose that, then they will get 100% of the grade. You'll see once again, you can add as many choices that you'd like. I'll go ahead and save changes. You can also add, I'm going to add a new question, and you'll see we have lots of options. There's matching, multiple choice, numerical, select missing words. Play around with this, see what options you'd like to do. If you do it on a paper quiz, we should probably be able to find a way to do it in Katie. We'll see. But I'm also going to pick here an essay that I will add. For this, since it's a syllabus quiz, I want to get a reason for taking this course. So why are you taking this course? What do you hope to learn this semester? And then you see that I'll get some options for the response. The HTML editor is the default. That's fine. Go ahead and leave that there. Require the student to enter text. If this is an optional question, you can say that's optional. The input box size. So there will be 15 lines. That's how big this box will be when the student's going to type in. 15 lines is usually pretty good. If you want to create a response template, you can do that. So since I have 2 questions in my question here, I might create this response template where I might make this bold and say, why are you taking this course? And I'll go ahead and unbold that, come down here and say, let me bold that again. What are you hoping to learn this semester? And when I create a response template, that means that when the student goes to answer this question and the text box is created, this text will already be in the box. So the student would come in here, put their cursor here and answer this question, put their cursor, put their cursor here and answer this question. This grader information is if you have multiple people who will be grading tests and you want to have some information on what to be looking for, or if you want to kind of put the answer, you would put that in here and save changes. Note that the essay question is the only question type that Katie is unable to grade automatically. If you have an essay question, you will have to go in and manually grade those before the grade is released to students. Here on the page where you add questions is where you will set the maximum grade. So I want my quiz to be worth 10 points, so I'm going to add 10 points in here. You'll see that each of these questions currently is worth 1 point. So what will happen is they will take the quiz and they'll see how many points they get out of 3 and then scale that up to be worth out of 10. You can say this is an essay question. I actually think this maybe should be worth some more. So instead of 1 point, I'm going to make this worth 5 points. So I'll put in 5 and click enter.